As bad as Trump's cabinet meeting was when he and his cabinet members were speaking, it got even worse when they took questions from reporters, resulting in Trump lashing out at a Fox News reporter, accusing Fox News of engaging in fake news. And then Fox, at the very end of Trump's cabinet meeting, was desperate to try to get back in his favor. More on that later. But it turned out to be a total shit show, particularly when Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, was questioned about his recent war crimes and murder. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several things to talk about here. Trump lashing out at reporters, Pete Hegseth doubling down, Fox News catching strays. Let's start with that.
Yeah, one more. Yeah, when you talk about affordability, is going forward, are the American people, do you believe, getting impatient with the reforms that you're making? They've talked about it's about.
I think they're getting fake news from guys like you. Look, affordability is a hoax that was started by Democrats who caused the problem of pricing, and they didn't end it. Look, they lost in a landslide. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote. We won everything. You take
one more. Yeah.
So it's important to understand that the person that Trump was lashing out at was Edward Lawrence, a Fox Business Network reporter, a Fox News reporter. Trump lashed out at Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence after the reporter asked him about American concerns over affordability. Then Trump doubles down on his foolish claim that this isn't about anything legitimate, that affordability isn't an issue, that he's kicked ass on affordability, that everything is cheaper, and Americans are just too stupid and ungrateful to give him the credit that he deserves. That's Trump's mentality about this, and that's a disastrous strategy as the midterms approach. We're going to skip to the very end before we go back and play some other clips, since we're talking about Trump and Fox News. This is Trump abruptly ending the press conference, getting fed up, and then Fox basically taking back over and trying to massage it and celebrate the meeting itself.
Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave? Yes.
Come this way. Come this way. Thank you, press. Thanks, guys.
All right, President Trump wrapping his 9th cabinet meeting of his second term. Took it around the table, John, touting a lot of the wins. You heard about from Secretary Wright about gas prices now below $3 as a national average.
6 cents lower than this time last year. 6 cents lower.
Steadily declining. Marco Rubio touting success on foreign policy under this administration.
Yeah. So again, like, oh, he took it around the table, all the wins, all the successes. You have John Roberts smiling along. Again, desperate to try to stay in Trump's favor. Speaking of gas, Trump weighs in on that during the Q&A session.
districts. It was 2,750 to 525, because that was an affordability problem. We brought it down. Look at energy. Look at the gasoline price. That's like the simplest, and it's the biggest, because if energy comes down, everything comes down. That's the way it works. We're going to be at 250. You said 199 in some places in the country, right? You said it. I didn't say it. And they won't check you. They'll check me. So, I like to use your...
It's because Trump lies a lot. He's been saying that we're at $2 gas. In a lot of places in this country, we're basically under $2 a gallon. It hasn't been true. Now, the national average is about $2.99 per gallon, which is a mere 6 cents lower than it was this time last year. That's why people are not impressed, asshole, especially when you promise to cut costs on day one. It's taking you 10 months to only to get gas 6 cents lower? Like, no, you have failed abjectly and objectively. Well, let's continue.
I wanted to clarify something that you had said on Sunday regarding the boat strikes near Venezuela. You had said that you didn't know if the second strike on that one boat had happened, but you wouldn't have wanted it. Now that your administration has acknowledged that it happened, do you support that second strike? And Mr. Secretary, I wanted to clarify something you had said in an interview back in September, I believe on Fox News. You said that you would watch that strike live on television. In real time, did you know that there were survivors after the initial strike?
Well, look, all I know is this. Every boat that you see get blown up, we save 25,000 on average lives, 25,000 lives. They've been sending enough of this horrible fentanyl and other things like cocaine and other things, but fentanyl right now is the leader of the pack, to kill our entire nation. Because a little speck on the head of a pin can kill somebody. It's very dangerous stuff. I know so many people where their sons were drug addicts. They had one little sample, and they died. They died. They couldn't believe it. As far as the attack is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack. It wasn't one strike, two strikes, three strikes. Somebody asked me a question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people. I wasn't involved in it. I knew they took out a boat. But I would say this, they had a strike. I hear the gentleman that was in charge of that is extraordinary. He's an extraordinary person. Let peace.
So again, Trump is trying to wash his hands of it, plausible deniability. I didn't know, and I still don't know. I rely on Pete. Pete was the one, and you'll see what what Pete Hegseth has to say about this in just a second, because he was asked part of that question as well. But Trump is trying to put distance between himself and the scandal, between himself and Hegseth. Hegseth, in turn, is trying to put distance between himself and the operations commander and Admiral Bradley. Again, we'll see that in a second. But there is no evidence to support that it was, that it was some sort of lawful attack. It wasn't like the boat attacked the U.S. military and the U.S. military responded in kind. The reporting is it was a double tap. The United States military initiated an attack on an otherwise non-hostile boat. Then there were survivors clinging to the wreckage, and they went and murdered them. A war crime, murder, either way, it's terrible, objectively, on the law for Hegseth, and Trump's trying to put distance between them.
Pete didn't know about second attack having to do with two people, and I guess Pete would have to speak to it. I can say this, I want those boats taken out, and if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. And there's very little coming in by sea. I think
So there again, Trump saying, hey, we're not just going to attack in international waters and sovereign waters off the coast of a nation. We'll do land attacks if need be. We'll violate state sovereignty and the sovereignty of other nations in order to effect these attacks. Disgusting. So now Hegseth weighs in.
The first couple of strikes, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that. A lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do. And by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary.
We have no reason to believe that they're narco-terrorists. Even if they are narco-terrorists, this was still a war crime and a murder at best. And again, this is Hegseth trying to put distance between himself and the second strike. Trump's trying to put distance between himself and Hegseth while giving Hegseth some sort of cover. Trump and Hegseth is doing the same thing to Admiral Bradley.
We're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike? You personally?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire and smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all.
So this is just performative to make Trump smile because he's attacking the press. And again, he has no refutation of this whatsoever. He just like, I can't believe that you guys sit in air conditioning. They're the media, you idiot. They're not soldiers. We have to have soldiers and we have to have media. You used to be part of the media when you were on Fox News. You sat in air-conditioned rooms making millions of dollars. You moron. Why are these people so stupid and hypocritical? Because those are the qualities necessary to become part of MAGA high command. You nitpick. How dare you nitpick by, pointing out that We engage in either a war crime or murder. That's nitpicking. No, you asshole. It's good journalism.
And Mr. Secretary, on the second strike, you said it happened more than an hour after the first. Did I hear it
I couldn't tell you
correctly?
the exact amount of time.
Minutes, or you went off the room, is what you're saying.
I already stated my answer quite clearly.
So Hegseth says the second strike occurred 1 hour after the first strike, so it wasn't like you guys made a mistake in the fog of war. Sounds like, based on that time frame, you guys purposefully tried to kill these people, then let them, cling to wreckage in the water on fire for an hour, and then you circled back to finish the job. It's pretty psychotic, even by MAGA standards. Wait, there's more.
And those numbers are down. Those numbers are down. They're way down. And they're down because we're doing these strikes, and we're going to start doing those strikes on land, too. The land is much easier. It's much easier. And we know.
So again, Trump doubling down on this idea that, maybe we'll do some land strikes. Maybe we'll start, again, America first. No unnecessary wars. Let's not get into wars. But also, let's conduct military strikes in other countries. That sure sounds like a good way to start a war.
See a killer. Come on in. Just come on in. 11,888 murderers. Many of them committed more than one murder. He allowed them into our country, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. But he also allowed drugs to come in at record numbers. And hundreds of thousands of people a year died. And we're taking those son of a bitches out.
Who are the son of a bitches? Migrants? Undocumented migrants? Man, what are you talking about, man? Like, here, when asked to clarify about his land strikes, he just kind of casually drops, well, maybe Colombia.
Potential land strikes. Can you elaborate anything on that?
I'll elaborate. If they come in through a certain country or any country, or if we think they're building mills for whether it's fentanyl or cocaine. I hear Colombia, the country of Colombia, is making cocaine. They have cocaine manufacturing plants, okay? And then they sell us their cocaine. We appreciate that very much. But yeah, anybody that's doing that and selling it into our country is subject to attack.
So he says he appreciates that they're selling it in our country, but also they're subject to attack. Could be Colombia. Not good, folks. Again, it suggests that there will be more foreign entanglements of a military or, aggressive nature. This is why there's been a bit of a MAGA rebellion from the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's like, this isn't America first. This sure sounds like neocon foreign policy. And indeed it is in many ways. So here, Donald Trump is asked about Democratic Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota, whom he recently called, I think, absolutely retarded, as the exact quote. And that may have actually screwed Trump with respect to his Indiana gerrymandering. More on that in a separate video. But again, Trump is asked about Tim Walz.
Should resign over the fraud scandal in his state.
And who should?
Tim Walz, over the fraud scandal in his state.
Look, I think the man's a grossly incompetent man. I thought that from the day I watched JD destroy him in the debate. I was saying, who was more incompetent, that man or my man? I had a man and he had a man. They were both incompetent, and I had a man and a woman. I thought she was very incompetent too, but now she's leading the field, and I think she's leading the field in this for the nomination. Anyway, look, that's up.
I'm not sure who he's talking about. He had a man and he had a man. Your opponent was Kamala Harris. Tim Walz was her man. Are you calling J.D. Vance your man? And by the way, I will say, J.D. Vance did very well in that debate. I wouldn't call it destruction. Like, it was not a one-sided debate like the Kamala Harris-Trump debate where she kicked his ass pretty brutally. But interesting question, should he resign about the fraud going on in Minnesota? Of course, Trump would say yes to that because he thinks that he wants to just attack Democrats. I will point out that Donald Trump, and not only a fraudster himself, but recently commuted the sentence of a fraudster, a coastal elite, wealthy person who defrauded thousands of people out of $1.6 billion. That's pretty despicable.
Okay. There's something wrong with him. And when you look at what he's done with Somalia, which is barely a country, they have no anything. They just run around killing each other. There's no structure. And when I see somebody like Ilhan Omar, who I don't know at all, but I always watch her for years. I've watched her complain about our Constitution, how
Ilhan Omar doesn't complain about the Constitution, but what's interesting is Donald Trump in 2022 demanded that the Constitution be terminated so President Biden could be taken out of office and Trump could be restored unlawfully to power. So Donald Trump really has no credibility when it comes to protecting the Constitution. There you have it, folks. Again, that cabinet meeting got substantially worse when reporters were allowed to ask questions. Trump's lashing out at Fox News. Fox is desperately trying to get back into his favor. And you have he and Hegseth having a total meltdown when pressed about the double tap war crime / murder that they committed in the Caribbean. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.